Yep, I will take a look and see if they've played anything as of yet. But spawning in yellow as the Abbasid Dynasty, we do have Myriad. 6 going over to the berries, very typical of Abbasid Dynasty. There we start on berries due to the higher gather rates. And in the color pink, we have Ezra playing as the Roost right now. We've got a double hunting cabin open. This is very reminiscent of the Pro Scouts build that you'll often see from Roos. Kind of looking around the map. This is the second time we're going to Carmel today. I think Pro Scouts is really powerful on this map, so I fully expect some form of Pro Scouts coming from the Roos, whether it's early or maybe a little bit delayed, because Roos still benefits from getting those boar. I do think we're going to see Pro Scouts as well. Roos, though, on this map, I think are kind of at a little bit of an advantage now that I think about it, just due to the gold spawns, right? Roos notorious for not having to touch the gold until like minute 15, just due to the mechanics of the Civ using golden gates. So, actually a really good pick for this map.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree 100%, and we seen it last game with Juicy's Legacy. It's basically the same spawn here as well. With I mean, Woodline is a little bit more divided than it was last game, but basically the same situation. A ton of deer here on the top, deer and boar on the western side, close to the border, and then the double deer pack on the right side over to Myriad side, and so I think Ezra could do exactly the same thing as Roos did before and as Juicy did just now, going for the Pro Scout opening. I think that Roos is one of the best Pro Scout civs just because they can. I mean, one of the reasons, I mean, obviously, is that they're benefiting heavily from meat gathering, you know, with like gathering gold, like as well with that and increasing their bounty, but also with going for the scouts from the hunting cabins, and so they don't need to build a stable, they don't need to sacrifice villager production, and they just can go at that. And so I wouldn't be surprised. By the way, I need to switch the players here. How do I do that again?
So, no surprises here. You have an economic wing coming up from Abbasid. This is, I think, in a lot of pros' minds, still their preferred method. Occasionally you'll see a military wing, but versus Ruse, not a lot of value to be gained from military wing. So I think Eco Wing, 2 Town Center into some sort of Camel Archers could be really valuable, especially if you expect a 1 TCA Fast Castle Horse Archer Ruse. I think Myriad going that route is definitely beneficial. You also could just see, because composite bows and boot camp are so powerful, you could see Myriad try to maybe, instead of going into camel archers, go into base archers, and then sort of sneak his way into castle, and then get composite bows and have a real good advantage as well. And the other thing with the eco wing that kind of is really good for Abbasid is cheaper farms. So they won't have to risk going onto the map for some of these deer packs, which could mean that Ezra could pro scout them. So even though you don't necessarily want them for yourself, you do want to make sure your opponent doesn't get them as well. Looking at the worker splits here for Myriad, it absolutely looks like a 2 town center build. 4 on food, 7 on wood, 5 on stone. That is going to be a second town center, which I think he's going to look to maybe. I'd normally say they put that on their gold, but these golds are 1600, not really worth it. This deer pack all the way in the east corner looks pretty juicy for a second TC, if I'm going to be honest. Sticking on that deer pack, the only issue is there's not a lot of resources beyond the deer pack, so I don't know. Gonna have to wait and see where Myriad decides he wants to put his second town center. Could also just put it on a woodline because he's got a lot of sheep.
Yeah. I mean, I usually am a fan of Abbasid putting their town centers close to, close to each other, just to, you know, have it safe. And we've seen it last game, where Ottoman, where Knock Knock tried to put his town center like way out there, and it was just too exposed. And if you don't have the map control, it's way too risky. And we do see next to the stone instead of the gold this time, just because there's more value probably here to secure the stone.
Is this
Also secures the berries.
this might be 3 TC? Right? Last season we saw the death of the 2 TC meta, and now a lot of players are starting to bring 2 TC back, and Myriad might just be like, hey, we're going to go 3 TC. Oh, I was going to say it was definitely 3 TC at first because that second TC was rallied to stone, but now it's rallied to food, and it's rallied back to stone. He's bouncing it around. I think this is 3 TC.
Well, he wants to keep us on our toes, that's for sure. We do have barracks coming up, so at least some little bit of defenses against possibly the knights, also good against the scouts. So a little bit of a defense against the pro scouts. And yeah, I mean from the villager distribution here, definitely looks like he's going for a third town center, and I don't know if I don't know if it's a bad idea actually. I mean the thing is, you do have a little bit of time, like while your opponent is going about the deer and the pro scouting, to get some eco booming yourself. And at some point the deer will run out, but you will then be on 3 town centers, have 40 more villagers, and with some of the best spearmen in the game and some of the best archers in the game, you can probably deal very effectively with, whether it's horse archers, whether it's the knights. At some point it will be streltsies, which then your composite bows will still be good. So I don't think a third town center would be a bad choice at all, actually.
It is a third town center, and it is going up in the east corner here.
There you go.
So he's going to use this third town center as sort of a food hotspot, if you will. He's going to look to gather all of these deer through this third town center and these 3 berry patches. And I think we might even see, because he's got some spearmen, a knock-knock-esque deer push back into this town center. But I'd be curious to see what he does with the town center once all the food around it runs out. But this game could very well be over by that time. And Ezra now has decisions to make. You're up against 3 town center Abba. That is scary. That economy scales so quickly, and it snowballs on you. So yes, you're getting all the deer on your side of the map. You've stolen a couple Myriad's deer, but you're gonna blink, and Myriad is gonna be at 120 villagers. And you might have 5 relics, but his eco is just gonna be just full, just trade out army by like minute 20.
Yeah, that definitely is some scary stuff. Myriad still on Golden Age 0 here. He just needs one more house to construct, and then he would be at the first level here. Scout getting a little bit too close here, trying to slow down the pro scouts, and now we have the high trade house coming up. Let's see, switch it over. Oh, we don't see the trees yet. Should be an okay spot.
That looks like it's a 160 gold on the current bounty level, I would say.
Yeah,
High trade house.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my guess, because he's getting a little bit of this primary woodline and a little bit of that secondary woodline.
No.
Yeah, and Myriad Scout just kind of gets jumped on. The other scouts just take him out. No spying on our side of the map. Myriad, all these walls kind of going up. He's going to look to sort of zone these horse archers. He knows horse archers are likely coming. You do see the archery ranges. But Ezra could throw us a curveball, go for base archers, and look to ram some of these town centers down.
Yeah, that definitely could be possible. We do have a monastery coming up, so immediately looking for the relics. And the walls from Myriad here not only preventing the horse archers, but also securing 4 berry patches on the south side, as well as 2 additional small deer packs. The boar is not really usable for Abbasid, but the berries are very valuable, and so it kind of like that's you know, sometimes you don't like seeing walls that much because you're like, it just, you know, makes for like a slow, boring kind of game. But this is very strategic, securing exactly the resources that he needs to. And so Abbasid also, even though not going for pro scouts, likely will not really need to do a farm transition anytime soon, just because of all the berries here on the map. And we have a couple of horse archers now on the field, so that's gotta go through. Myriad so close to finishing the walls on the south side.
Yeah, but it's just scouts getting through right now. No real military units. They're gonna... Oh, that is so annoying.
Yeah,
They're just gonna
so
block. But Myriad is going up with military wings, so not only is he on 3 town center, but he's also matched the castle age.
yeah, and Myriad is trying to get some walls up desperately, but he needs to be fast here. The archers, the horse archers rather, are coming in fast, but also, yeah, they're losing a lot of health here by the spearmen.
Oh, those
So.
spears doing a lot of damage. The wall is getting up, and it looks like for the cost of 2, maybe 3 spears, Myriad is going to get that wall up, and you see a real quick wall cancel there because the villagers were on the wrong side of it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were walling themselves into certain death, but that is not the case anymore. Cancel and jump to the right side and finish the wall. Scouts can start burning this wall down to just be annoying, and I think Myriad is going to start with stables. So I think we're going to get a lot of horsemen here.
Yeah, I think horsemen should be in play here. Usually dealing very effectively with the horse archers. By the way, the spearmen at least also killed one of the horse archers, and some of them are very low now, and so definitely good value here securing this side of the map here. One scout moving in here with the camel riders dealing with that. Ooh, that was a close call here on the north side.
Very close call.
So Ezra is going to push through here, and he acquired some nice amount of horse archers, but at the same time, yeah, horsemen should be very effective against that. So it's just a question: can Myriad get the numbers up before he really needs to face this one here?
He needs to rush up towers in this back or pull some of these villagers from the backside. He's up a lot of villagers at the moment, but he's got 22 under threat in that east corner. Ezra, though, doesn't seem to notice. So they will live. They're going towards the the second town center that was made, and you know, horse archers versus buildings don't really do all that well. So a little bit of a lucky break for Myriad now, and he's moving on to these berries. Unfortunately, that's in the retreating path of Ezra's horse archers. Those horse archers might inadvertently see a lot of those villagers, and that's going to be a massacre. And they do see it. This is going to be very bad. Horse archers are just going to start murdering villagers, and this is going to hurt. No reaction. Villagers are pulled. He started with 22. He's down to 15 here, and oh, this is just brutal. He splits his villagers up. Horsemen coming to try to save what he can, and oof. That's gonna reset things back a little bit in Ezra's favor, if you will, there, and just a brutal catch from Ezra there.
A very brutal catch here, and the camel riders debuffing the horse archers just a little bit. So that also will help Myriad, but he just currently doesn't have the numbers right now. I mean, he's running a couple horsemen into 20 horse archers. And so that never really feels good. So I think in a sense, I don't know, like maybe Myriad needs to take a little bit more time and not run like 2 horse archers by 2 into that horse archer mass, because you just... The thing is that if you have enough mass and you can like hunt them down, and they have no chance to actually fight you, it's not Mangota, you know, they don't shoot while they're running, and so Ezra now finding the third town center here at least. So he knows that he's been up against 3 town centers. He did a good number here on equalizing the villager count, but needs to be careful to not get caught here, because slowly but surely the horseman numbers are building up in favor for Myriad.
Myriad trying to wall all these horse archers into his base so they can't escape and hunt them down with horsemen. Horse archers also find the gold Myriad's end, but he's got 3 towers there, going to be able to easily repel them, and all these horse archers from Ezra might be lost here. They're trapped inside Myriad's base, and they can kite, but eventually they're just going to get picked apart here, as they have so few places to kind of run here.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move here by Myriad to wall them in, and they will most likely all lose their lives here. So that's some very good destroy value for Myriad, equalizing the numbers here almost. And putting out some very annoying fire as well, because now he's free to take the berries, regain some sort of base control, if you will. And potentially then look for, I mean, what's his next move, you know? When is he going to go for Imperial? Is he gonna go for the Sacred Sites now? Ezra does have 5 relics, as said earlier, that it will likely be a 5-0 relic game here. So that is a very good gold source for Ezra. So what is Myriad gonna do against that?
So Ezra added in a second town center to sort of hopefully stabilize with Myriad. The relics will only become a major issue if this goes late game. If both players could get to 120, 130 economy, then it's advantage Ezra for sure. But for right now, Myriad has enough villagers to sort of gather as much or outgather those relics. And ooh, he's going for the gold in the middle, but horse archers, so annoying. They're everywhere. Can't get a tower up without losing a couple of villagers here, and Myriad is bleeding a couple more. Ezra's taken down 30, and little by little, that 3 town centers not going to be as valuable, just because he keeps losing a lot of villagers.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this will be more or less the last of them for now. But yeah, 30 villager kills is quite a good chunk into your eco, and I mean, they will have paid off by now, but it's still kind of painful to lose them. And by that lose at least one of the win conditions in a way that Myriad had in his favor.
Alright, so we have a Camel Rider Horseman and Base Archer comp coming out from Myriad here. Doesn't have the numbers quite yet to contest Ezra's superiority of the center here, but they are moving out. We're going to get a clash in the middle here. Horsemen charge in. Knights are forced to retreat. Horse Archers are forced to retreat. This does not seem to be a fight that Ezra wants to take. He's kiting back, picking off a couple of these Camel Riders here or there that don't have ranged armor, but Ezra doesn't want to take this fight. There's too many Camel Riders and Camel Archers here. So Myriad finally getting some tempo back on his side and able to take this fight over to Ezra's base.
Yeah, so that's, well, I mean, as I was about to speak, now it kind of shifts towards Ezra's favor again, because the Knights, they are quite tanky, and yeah, Myriad doesn't really have a counter for that right now. I mean, the Camel Riders are nice, but they're not you know, countering them as well as with the Horsemen or the Camel Archers, and so kind of, I don't know, does he want to go for Spearman now? That's the question, to counter the Knights.
I think Camel Rider Horseman is more than enough to deal with Ezra's current comp. The only issue is he's running out of horsemen to effectively deal with these horse archers. And horse archers are able to kite back, but once these knights take a fight with the Camel Riders just destroy the knights. And you can kind of see that the front line of Ezra is slowly falling. And somehow, they actually were able to win that fight. that was a little bit amazing there. Horse archers undoubtedly helped a lot.
Yeah, the horse
but now we're
archers
kind of
are just super strong. I mean, the thing with the camel riders is they do counter the knights, but they're also not really having any significant amount of armor, and so the horse archers with their high DPS, high base damage, kind of they're still effectively, getting on top of them. So if it would be, the camel lancers from the Ayubids, I think it would be a different story. But with the camel riders, that alone, I don't think is enough. So I would like to see some spearmen. I think that would be a good addition. But well, yeah, I don't know. We're gonna see. For now, Myriad is holding, and his eco is scaling 3 town centers against 2. So I think his main issue is he kind of somehow needs to secure that gold vein, and then he should be fine. Also, at some point, he needs to think about, once his food runs out, having some more farm transition. Is already starting that.
Yeah, gold is about to become a serious problem for Myriad. Ezra has a lot of control over this middle here. Myriad is currently contesting it, driving these horse archers back. Knights feign a charge in, but ultimately this is not a fight that Ezra is looking to take. I actually think he could win this, but he's going to continue to kite back. And Myriad's got to be happy with that. He just wants the gold in the middle. So he's moving more military. I think we're going to see a villager migration from Myriad's base. We do. There's 14 villagers kind of coming over, and he's going to look to secure up this middle gold vein. And that could not have come at a better time for Myriad. There is a keep going down on top of it, and he needs this gold very badly. And keep. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Ezra's keep that got that is there, right? No, that's all right. That's Myriad's keep. Okay. I'm on Ezra.
That would be a twist.
Yeah, that would be a twist. No. All right. So if this keep goes up, I think Myriad will be fine. He is moving out with his military there, looking to take a fight, maybe bait them back into this keep, but that keep isn't nearly done enough.
But it's getting there. Rushing up close to 20 villagers. That should be enough to get the keep up.
And Myriad just doesn't have the numbers here. Ezra's moved into base bows, and base bows counter fairly okay these camel riders and these camel archers from Myriad. So Myriad's got to go back to the drawing board. We have a couple more stables coming up, so it looks like he's saying, okay, I get it. I'm going to add more horsemen back in. But right now, Myriad just can't field a big enough army. His eco's in a great place. He's generating a ton of food. Now he's got access to the gold again. But Ezra's eco is also in a very good place. Myriad just needs to get the production up, and he needs to just start pumping military. That's been the biggest thing holding him back this entire game.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're looking at the food income, Myriad has almost twice as much food income as Ezra, and so I think one of the reasons, like, what really is holding back Ezra at the moment is his food right now, because he cannot really produce any more units. He does have a nice amount of army right now, so in terms of, just raw value, he can probably take a fight right now. But that keep is a little bit of an issue for him. Not to mention that it also provides the gold.
Trebuchet is now going to come and slowly start working on this keep. We have the culture wing coming in for Myriad though. And again, he's just going into more camel riders.
Huh.
And Ezra kind of is like, alright, I get it. I'm going to save up and I'm going to go to Imperial Age myself, while trebbing down this keep in the middle.
Yeah, it makes sense. He doesn't need to fight right now, and so almost pop cut anyway. So he can go for Imp right now. Spasskaya Tower coming up. So no high armory, but instead kind of like a keep. At the same time, he is moving in to torch the, I don't know. Maybe he's just baiting out an attack here, but yeah.
Yeah, and one thing um, that I think is going to work towards Myriad's advantage here is just the timing of some of these elite upgrades, right? Myriad's going to be able to go and try to take this fight, but that Spazkaya tower is going to get up and be able to repel this. You do not want to fight with this comp under that tower, and it comes up and the cannons start firing, springolds, bows. That's just going to shred right through Myriad's army. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board. He's not going to be able to win this fight.
No, definitely not. I mean, you can see his front line is barely holding, but Spazkaya tower happily firing away on the camel archers. Myriad losing so many units, and the knights still standing strong here. There's still a couple base archers, and Myriad does have the age advantage still because his units are elite and the opponents are not. And so slowly but surely the fight is turning in his favor, but not really in like army value still looking strong for Ezra, probably also because of the siege units here, but yeah, the Spazkaya tower, I don't see it that often actually, but that is a very strong keep, and so Myriad gets a taste of that at the moment.
Listen, it's not a Berkshire. It's not the most oppressive defensive landmark in the game, but upon its completion, it is fully upgraded with everything but boiling oil. So used in the way that Ezra used it right there, it could be absolutely oppressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if if you would have a, I don't know if that's even, like, if there's a video about that, like a landmark tier list. But like, the Berkshire is better, Red Palace probably also is right up there, but I would say that Spazkaya Tower is just almost as good as the Red Palace, I would say. So, definitely a strong landmark. Also good, 20 garrison slots, so you can save a lot of villages there as well. But meanwhile, Myriad able to take down almost all of the trebuchets here and is pushing into Ezra's base, idling a couple villagers on the gold that conveniently ran out now anyway. Finding some more
and this has gone from, great positioning to nightmare for Ezra real quick. I almost wonder if Myriad's E button is broken. He just, camel riders upon camel riders upon camel riders. He seems to really like that unit, and why not? It seems to be kind of working here, and Ezra's switching to horsemen. Starting to add those into his comp. Needs a decent front line. Horsemen this late in the game can form a pretty good comp front line wise for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just time, looking for.
I don't know. At the same time, you do get the debuff for the horsemen, and so they don't do a lot of damage, and then they deal even less. But we're gonna see. So Myriad finding some very effective raids, already killing 18 villagers, so half of what Ezra was doing earlier, and so almost 30 villagers ahead right now. Working overtime on the gold here as well, so gold is gonna be an issue on this map fairly soon. I don't know, I mean, there's not a whole lot of gold still left, and all of that is in control of Myriad actually.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the first Streltsy, but I'm not seeing Streltsy just yet. Myriad's Culverin gonna start working on the Spazkaya Tower real soon, and Ezra's feels kind of backed into a corner here.
Yeah, definitely is backed into a corner. I mean, he walled himself in here, and the Spazkaya Tower is basically the only thing that's currently preventing Myriad from, just moving in and killing everything here. I mean, there's no Kremlin here, so that's basically the only defensive structure here besides, or is it like, yeah, one wooden fortress over here. And there's a keep over there. So rough position for Ezra, and he does have the resource. Oh, sorry. Why can I change the UI here? He does have a couple of resources, so he could produce a couple more units.
Myriad pushing in again. Culverin slowly working on the Spazkaya Tower. full garrison going. It's going to be a little too oppressive for Myriad to continue to push through. Villagers jump out, start repairing. Gonna need 1 or 2 more culverins to really start taking this thing down, because it is a landmark. It is repaired with wood, not with stone, so Ezra can keep the repair up for quite some time at this rate and, you know, buy himself more time to switch into a comp. We do have the Streltsy starting to hit the field, and the Streltsy right here should do fairly well against most of what Myriad is making in these elite camel riders. Bombard is also on the field here, but time is running out. The Spazkaya Tower is about to go down. Looks like Ezra is abandoning it. Meanwhile, Myriad sees an opportunity. He's diving in, trying to take the Bombard out. Forces clash here. Spearmen forming the front line here. Streltsy on the back line with some archers here, and it does not look like Ezra's going to be able to hold. Camel riders are kind of wrapping around, getting on top of the Streltsy here, and Ezra's quickly running out of military.
Quickly running out of military, quickly running out of resources as well. There's barely any front line for him. And I mean, the Streltsys are insanely strong units, but they kind of have the issue that they would like to, you know, stay in place and then just fire away and get their bonus. But if they cannot stay, like, you know, if you have to kite with them, it kind of feels bad. And right now it's basically just the Streltsy is the only unit in, like, next, close to the archers, that is preventing Ezra from losing the game right now, and he's holding on to dear life, but I don't know if that is something like long term, if he can sustain that. Myriad's production is just so much stronger. He has the military on the field, the eco behind to sustain all that. Yeah.
Looks like Ezra is going to call it. Well played on both sides there. I thought Myriad really was in some trouble there when that horse archer blob, you know, broke through the walls on the south side there and was threatening a lot of Myriad's eco. Even came away with 30 villager kills. That was a really tough part of the game that Myriad just had to battle through. You can kind of see on the villager count there. It's just a sharp dive down.
Yeah. Yeah, that was brutal. But he was still so much behind ahead, and so I don't think he cared that much. And then in return, like, yes, it did take him a little bit, but he was able to equalize all that and kill all the horse archers. And from there, slowly but surely, it went in his favor. Um, Although I do wonder if we're looking at the graph here. I mean, it's insane how many units Ezra lost, and not really any fight. Well, okay, maybe this one here, and like shortly before they both hit Imperial, where Myriad took a bad fight. So any fight basically was in Myriad's favor, and he had the better eco, he had the stronger eco. If we're looking at resources, it was kind of close, but eventually Myriad was scaling ahead. Um, and so yeah, a very, as I mean, you mentioned before that Myriad is a very methodical player and very strategic, and you could just see that he was very patient and just was like he knew he had it at some point, and he was just patiently doing anything that he needed to get the win.
Yeah, and that's what I love about his play. He's very pragmatic, if you will, very just, you know, calm, cool, collected, even in some of those more challenging positions. So he kind of persevered through some trials there early on and was able to come out on top. But now we can start looking ahead, because that was game one, if I'm not mistaken. So now we can start looking ahead to what game two might look like. And for everyone wondering back home, Downfall did come out on top of Knock Knock in that previous series we were observing, 2-0. And Downfall is going to wait for the winner of Myriad versus Ezra. So game two here becomes really important.
Yeah, and I let me check. I think we can just switch. Like we can hit it fairly soon. I just wanna update our score, our graphics here, just to have it a little bit more professional. So there's the Civ draft. Can already
So I am
update
not
that.
seeing Myriad or Ezra in game just yet. Let me see. Myriad's actually on my friends list if I'm not mistaken. But I don't see him online either. That's interesting.
Oh, please don't tell me that I'm just updating all the graphics and then it's not observable anymore.
No, let me see if the players
I
took a
would
break here.
probably break my keyboard if that happens.
No, it could just be that it looks like they're doing a Civ draft at the moment, or they're drafting for game 2. It looks like. So yeah, it just Myriad might have just closed his game while he did the drafting for game 2. But it is available if you want to update it, both players, and the map that they have decided on
Ooh.
is one that I don't play very often because I am stubborn and I am patiently waiting for the rework of a system that the devs keep saying that is in the works before I spend my time learning how to effectively play on water. We are going to Archipelago, but we are going to EGC Archipelago. So it's a little bit of a tournament prepared map. So I have never seen this. I had to download it earlier today, and I'm just waiting to see where the players want to jump online.
Let's see, yeah. Alright, so I finally found the draft where they... So which Civ they're gonna play? Curious to see if you're gonna like that matchup.
I mean, as long as we're not playing Byzantine on a water map, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that would be something, wouldn't it, huh? But yeah, so there it is. Juicy's Legacy against Order of the Dragon. So you're in my group. What do you
Yeah,
think
we
about
just got.
that?
So, what do I think about that? I think Zushi is considered to be one of the best water civs, but Order of the Dragon? Honestly, I think they're very effective on the water. So,
Yeah,
more to what I want to pay attention to is the recent, let's call them nerfs, updates to fishing, and see how it kind of plays out here. But first, spawning on the northeast side in the color green, we do have Myriad. He's got his own little island here. He is playing as Zushi's Legacy, and the stone and gold spawn on opposite sides. I'm not sure the Meditation Gardens is really gonna be able to get stone and gold, so he might have to choose between stone and food or gold and food here, and that'll be a very interesting choice here. Stone is great because you can get dock upgrades, naval arrow slits, but passive gold is always good too.
yeah, it's a tough call. I think it both fits. I'm not 100% sure, but it should maybe just barely touch it. So we're gonna find out about that in about 2 minutes. Um, and Ezra on the other side, Order of the Dragon in orange. Um, also on wood right now, obviously has the dock on the northern side, so not as forward as the other one here for Myriad. So could look for some aggression, and so this is the EGC archipelago, so a little different than what you might usually see if you're playing archipelago. Um, Very interesting to see how the deep sea fish is, distributed around the island here. And the funny thing is, when I looked at that here first on Myriad's island, it kind of looked how do you explain that? When you're taking like an aerial photograph and it's kind of like this globe vision, it looked super weird. It almost gave me a headache looking at this. So very interesting to see this little like hill here actually. Um, Interesting map. Let's put it that way. Very interesting map.
You want to know what I see?
Tell me.
I see the inverse of Four Lakes. That's what
Ooh.
this feels like. It looks like
Wow.
Four Lakes if you were just to invert it. Inverse it.
Yeah. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, it's that might actually be the inspiration for this map. I have no idea. Very interesting choice. Also like a tiny little island in the middle with the sacred site here. Um, so speaking of which, there's only one sacred site on this map, and this is this one in the middle. So don't pick Delhi if you're playing on that map. You will likely not, yeah, most likely not like the map.
No, but I do have a question about the sacred site, and maybe we'll find this out later, maybe we won't, and this might be why this map was redesigned like this, is previous versions of this map, the sacred site was where all the action was. If you
Yeah.
could capture the sacred site and hold the sacred site, it was a huge advantage. I'm looking at the sacred site and I'm almost wondering, like, do I need a ground unit to decap that, or do I think I can kind of get a ship up inside that sacred site and decap it with the ship if I needed to? We'll see if that comes into play, but I think you actually might be able to get a ship up there
I'm
to
pretty
decap
sure,
it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure you can get a ship close enough into that outer circle to decap it. Kind of like you can decap it with a ram as well if you want to. So it could actually be you basically like, you just pull a fishing boat and park it over here and then decap the sacred site. That would be yeah, I'm pretty sure that's actually how it works. Oh, by the
So
way,
I
okay,
think
let's
now might be a good time to talk about these age ups are coming in. We have an Aachen Chapel coming in for Ezra. Age ups might be a little bit slower than players are used to, only because the fishing got a tiny nerf. I mentioned it at the beginning.
no.
So shoreline fish used to gather at 0.7, now it's 0.65. Deep water fish used to gather at 0.8, now it's 0.75. So a tiny little slowdown on the fish gathering, and players have to get used to that macro because it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have 7 fishing ships, 8 fishing ships, it can absolutely throw off your timing. So we do get the meditation gardens here. No surprises here. I think he gets stone and gold.
Yeah, he does
I
get
think he
He does get gold stone. It's right on in there. I'm curious. Okay, so he does. Okay, I think he misses out on this one berry patch, on this one berry bush. Which so if he moved it like 2 tiles next, like to the left, then he would get all of those resources. He doesn't really get any wood because that's not in, except for like this one straggler tree or two. So yeah, it will be at least gold, stone, and food. So it is still a decent meditation gardens. In a way, it's more decent than the Aachen Chapel because you're limited in where you can put farms around it actually. And so I'm kind of liking the meditation gardens on this map more than the Aachen Chapel.
Yeah, the Aachen Chapel is just kind of useful on the woodline here and a little bit on the gold, just to give a boost in gathering right here. Gold for demolition ships are absolutely needed, and wood is a basic resource required of any shipbuilding. So he's going to have a nice tempo bonus from the faster gathering right there that hopefully will lead to a military advantage. On both sides, though, both players are, fairly even on military count.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really like military. There's like 2 ships out now. Obviously, there's not. I mean, when are you gonna need land military at this like in this map? Might need it at some point if you wanna. But I mean, okay, you cannot even put like you can put an outpost on here maybe on the Sacred Side Island. But
Hear
like,
me out, though. Transport ship sneaks a lance connect around the backside and gets on Myriad's wood line. Okay,
yeah,
that would be that would be that'd be the play right there.
yeah, okay, yeah, I see. And like, but I mean, other than that, which might also be difficult. So if you're at some point you'll have fishing boats all around. Fishing boats have kind of like a good vision here as well, so you don't need outposts or something. You just have fishing boats all around your little island, and then you basically see any transport ship coming up. I mean, eventually the players will migrate to the other islands, I suppose, and so there it would actually, it probably potentially would work with the Landsknecht, but even then you also have the deep sea fish out there. So I don't know. My expectation would be that everything here happens on water, and we'll see some very strong water fights, and then the game will be over very shortly after the fights.
Yeah, I mean, water really comes down to taking one key fight. I think both players will, you know, do that sort of skirmish in the middle, back off, skirmish in the middle. They're going to spend some time feeling each other out. And right now it's kind of funny because Myriad ships are kind of moving around to Ezra's base. Ezra's took the opposite path straight to Myriad's base. And no naval arrow slits here, so both players are just going to cause a lot of destruction to each other.
Yeah, now Myriad realizes that he just passed the fishing, the boats here, and is coming back around. By the way, this stealth forest in the water is also interesting on this map, so difficult to figure out where exactly your opponent is, so very dangerous to go in here. There could be a couple demolition ships waiting for you, but for now we do have the God vision, so we can see everything nice and clearly. A little bit of a back and forth here, but no player really wants to commit right now. Okay, there's the demolition ship in the stealth forest, so very nicely done here by Myriad. I mean,
yeah, that's going to be really hard for Ezra to spot out, so sort of camping the demo ships in the stealth forest going to give him an advantage if Ezra tries to push out, and I think Myriad's going to try to bait him here. His military is moving in, you've got spring-old ships up front, war junks. Going to take a couple shots, pull back here, and hope that Ezra follows, and Ezra is biting right now. He's taking the bait, and wisely enough, looks like he's steering around the stealth here, and the demo ship is coming out. But it gets spotted out, and Myriad's attempt there was thwarted. That was a good play. He kind of, Ezra suspected something might be up with that.
yeah, which it's I just love it to see, you know, those players and like their mind working, where it's like, okay, I'm just trying to be a little bit sneaky, and the other one's like, I don't know, something feels off here. I'm not going too close to that. I don't see in there. I don't know. And so it actually didn't work out in Myriad's favor, but it was a nice attempt. And now we might see the repeat here actually. But Myriad, ooh, is he gonna find a connect here? Actually finds a little bit of a connect here, a little bit of damage with the demo ship. And Myriad is actually going up with the monastery, the Shaolin monastery. So it's gonna be a reasonably fast castle. Still has enough military to defend that.
He's gonna have to be careful here. As soon as the H-up comes in, Ezra's gonna push. He's pushing right now. He knows something's up. He knows that Myriad's not taking a fight for a reason, so he's gonna try to take down some of these docks. Myriad just wants to get as much military out as possible without committing to a fight until he gets upgrades. Spring ships come in, fire off a couple shots here. H-up comes in, and Myriad has just got to get some upgrades in.
Ooh,
Demo ship comes out of the dock here. Almost
nice
gets
connect.
Yep. More demo ships kind of coming out here, and Myriad just cutting backwards, trying his best to just buy time, moving his fishing ships away. And Ezra is just full commit here. He knows that if he waits too long, Myriad's going to have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he is on a timer right now, so he knows if he pushes now, he might, or like, he should win the fight because he invested more into military. Nice connect here with the, well, that was a huge connect with the demo ship here, and that was like the connect, that was a signal for Myriad to, you know, to follow up and start pushing Ezra out.
We have Springhold Cruise coming in, which is +1 range, and they attack 20% faster. Ezra falling back here, trying to macro a little bit up to Castle Age, it seems. But will he get there in time? And I don't know.
No, I don't think so. And then also, like, once you reach Castle Age, you do need a little bit of time to get the upgrades. You know, which, I mean, it doesn't take super long, but still, time is everything in this game, and so currently it is a little bit in Myriad's favor, I would say, with the Castle Age already on the way. Some good connections with the Springle ships, with the demo ships, and now he can return the favor. Now he can push a little bit, and Ezra has 4 docks right now. Myriad has 5, so a little bit more for Myriad. Should be able to produce just a little bit more. Good connection here on Ezra's side with the demo ship. So a little bit of back and forth here. But overall, Myriad winning a little bit more in these
Oh no,
trades.
demo! Ooh, sorry man, that got a lot of value right there.
That was a lot of value, yep.
So Myriad continuing to just apply pressure, and Ezra just can't get to Castle Age because he has to reinvest into military.
Yeah, he could hit it now, but that's... I don't know, does that instantly kill you? If you're going Castle Age right now, that's... I mean, that's not really gonna work in your favor, I guess.
Yeah, and the question is, I guess you go up with Regnance here, and yeah, that's exactly what Ezra goes up with. Regnance over on this western island here, but Myriad continuing to push forward, takes 1 dock out, and his military is just oppressively better than Ezra's. I don't think this age up is really going to matter. Myriad's kind of just slowly but surely shutting down that fishing eco here. You have 11 fishing ships just idle, not gathering. Ezra pushing back with the demo, connects on one of the war junk here, but more reinforcements come in from Myriad, and I think this is the beginning of the end for Ezra. I don't see how he comes back from this.
Yeah, this is a pretty brutal difference here. I mean, one thing that he can definitely come back, or how he can come back from, is there's a total of 8 relics on this map. So usually you would only have 5 for a 1v1, but on this map it's actually 8. It's 2 on each of those 4 islands, 4 lakes, 4 islands map. And so, in theory, if he can grab a ton of relics with the Ragnar's Cathedral, that can be very powerful. I don't know if that will save him necessarily, but that definitely could be a huge benefit for him. The thing is, for him, he's just losing dock after dock. He needs to restock down on the south side. He has 1 more over here. And so he's currently down to 2 docks. You know, against the 6 of Myriad, which even if you have the defender's advantage, doesn't really feel that great.
He's digging in. This is the last fight. I think Ezra knows what's about to happen here. As the last of his hulks are sort of pushed away, he's got this double dock fortification here, but it's just not enough. Myriad has too much. Ezra needs to come up with another plan, maybe start spamming demolition ships and hope for some good connects. But not looking good.
No, I mean, I don't even know if that would work. I mean, yeah, if you have like a couple demos and you can connect somehow with a lucky connect, then you maybe get ahead. But unless that happens, Ezra just lost another dock, down to 2 again. Really on his last leg here. I don't think that he can hold this. Myriad doing an extremely good job here with finding the right fight. A couple good connections with the demo ships, and then it just snowballed heavily in his favor from there. And the thing is with Order the Dragon, you know, their specific, their unique tech with the dogs is the fire stations. You know that the military ships regenerate health if they're out of combat, but that only helps you if you can actually get out of combat and you have a little bit of a breathing room. And other than that, the unique tech is kind of useless, and so you're left to the vanilla ships basically, and that's not something that you can. Oh my goodness!
So we have a Palace of Swabia coming in, and this is a good recovery arc for Ezra. It's on the west. He's gonna make Myriad end this game. He may have lost water, but the game is not over yet. Myriad still needs to take out all his landmarks and effectively end this game. But I do think Myriad could look to go up to Imperial Age here, and it looks like that's exactly what he's thinking. He just doesn't have anywhere to put it. And Ezra struck at the perfect time. He needs to create a dock ship, get those a transport ship, I should say, and get those villagers over to one of these other islands so we can put down that Age 4 landmark and Temple of the Sun coming up, but I don't see where it is. It's on the main island.
On the main island, so just on. Basically, if you had a nuclear bomb, you could drop it on this island, kill Juicies immediately. And so, yeah, Ezra, I think it's actually a very smart move to split up his landmarks in a sense. So this is, we talked about, like, do you even need a land army on this map? But in this case, you actually do. Like, how do you get to the Palace of Swabia or to the Regnitz Cathedral? They're a little bit too far inland, and so there's no way for you to actually hit them unless you have a land army. And so you actually, like, this is. I don't think that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Ezra will win this game, but this is definitely giving him another 10 minutes. Where, usually it would have been over, but this is saving him and giving him like 10 more minutes.
Yeah, this is the decider game here, so Ezra's holding on, and Palace of Swabia is a great option to hold on, right? He's doing a farm transition, he's going to look to kind of put up some keeps around this base here. The thing is, Myriad's going to start making Bauchans, which is just gonna shred keeps. They're an anti-structure specialist unit, and keeps just can't hold up against something like that. And once he does that, this secondary island that Ezra has is gonna start coming under siege.
Ooh, speaking of secondary island, look at the top one on the northern one, and that sneaky stable. I do hope that gets up. This is beautiful. I love what Ezra is doing there. Oh, Myriad is just dropping an outpost, so he will actually be aware. Oh no, that's so unfortunate.
He'll be aware too late. And what's going to happen here, Ezra has the stone. He's probably going to get a spring. He's going to drop the relic in the tower so he gets the gold. And this is going to be... Myriad's going to have to evacuate this island unless he drops down some barracks real quick.
Well, okay, so the thing is, so Myriad will get up the outpost before the stable is coming up. So there is a potential knight from Ezra. Oh, okay, he's canceling the stable, putting him closer to the border. Is Myriad gonna find the stable now? That's the question. Yeah, okay, he sees the stable. Okay, he still sees the stable, so he knows about that. And if there's one knight out there, that will kill all of the villagers. So that actually is very, very strong. And the relic is actually transported over. So Ezra is not keeping the relic on this island, not putting it in the outpost, but rather is transporting it over to the Regnitz or to the keep here.
That's actually very smart. That guarantees him permanent access to that relic until Myriad goes over and just takes it by force. But Myriad's getting some spears out, so that first knight is not going to be uncontested and not be able to, and be able to just murder these 24 villagers over here. You just see also Myriad's just circling the main base of Ezra right here. So we do have a war junk. It's a little too close to that keep. So Myriad's probably going to go queue up a Bauchan. We have 3 on the field already, 1 more in queue, and that's going to start to eat away at these keeps right here. Where are they?
I mean, there's just one keep, right? That's on the northern side of the left pond, out of the left island.
Yep. Oh, Bauchans are here, and just watch how quickly they make this keep go down.
What's about him? Oh, there it is.
You do have some Carracks coming out from Ezra. He just doesn't have enough.
Yeah, this is some nice damage for sure. So that keep will definitely not be an issue for super long. And Bao-Chans, there's something different in late game. Also, we haven't talked about that before because I didn't think it was in the cards, but the unique tech for Zeus's Legacy, gaining 1 extra range, which is huge. I mean, anywhere, but especially on water, I feel like. So all the ships having 1 more range, making it even more difficult for, yeah, for in this case, Order of the Dragon to catch up to them and really, you know, take the fight to where you want it to be.
Looks like Springolds and Bao-Chans are firing on the keep. Emergency repairs gets triggered. It's going to buy him a little bit more time. Myriad's going to be forced to pull back after taking quite a lot of losses, but Myriad will be back once this keep stops healing. A little bit of an overextension from Ezra here. Ooh, but does not get punished for it. Able to keep his Carrack alive there while taking down 1 Bao-Chan. That was actually a really good exchange for Ezra.
Yeah,
And
I
at
mean,
some point, I think
take that. I take that as Ezra, and I'm actually super surprised how well he is still keeping into the game regarding that. In, like, you know, from my feeling, he should have lost like 5 or 10 minutes ago, but he's still keeping it, and he actually still has villagers on the main island. It's just a handful, but they're still, you know, like happily chopping away the trees here. And so Ezra is definitely still in the game, and I'm super surprised, and I'm also super happy about that. And it just shows that, you know, the level that the players are on, that they can, you know, come back from a brutal and heavy loss at the beginning and just, you know, do something wild. I mean, I didn't expect the Imperial Age, to be honest, and you know, initially it felt like some kind of troll move, but then I was like, no, it's actually a very, very smart move, and that's what kept him in the game. Only 3 relics because it doesn't have the map control to get any more. Looking to get some more here, but is thwarted by the junk.
yeah, and Ezra has a transport ship with 1 unit in there. I wonder what he is looking to do with that.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's a prelate looking to get the additional relics here. There's still 3 more on the. It should be 4 more. Where's the 3rd one? Oh no, never mind. It's 3. So it's 3 more. 5 relics are taken already. 3 more available. And so I think he's trying to get to the other relics, to the other lake.
He's back. Myriad is coming, and he's coming for blood. Look at that armada move across the sea. And they start engaging, and Bao-Chans just start picking apart demolition ships left and right. Myriad moving in demo ships. They get some good hits off, and little by little, these Carracks are going down. But for now, Ezra seems to be fighting to a standstill. These Carracks are holding up against the Bao-Chans.
Yeah, I mean, it is crazy how well Ezra is holding, even though Myriad does have 1 more range on his ships, but in a straight up fight, I guess it doesn't matter as much. And so as long as he doesn't need to run, he can still hold it fairly well. If we're looking at
away from this keep, though, these Carracks that have more HP aren't really holding up against these Bao-Chans. And more demo ships coming in from Myriad. He's not done yet. Good connection there. Another Carrack goes down. And Myriad is just wheeling around, not ready to take this fight with this keep just yet. I also saw Palace Guard upgrade come in for Myriad. But right now he just moved some spears around to the backside of Ezra's base, and now he's got Ezra's forces pigeonholed here in the north part of this island. And it's unable to break away here, and he's just forming a blockade. Ezra's demo ship able to drive some of these Bao-Chans back, and he buys himself a little bit more time here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good connection and definitely forced Myriad away a little bit. And oh, now look at all the villagers getting
Oh,
pulled against the spearmen.
I was about to ask, what do you think wins? 69 Order the Dragon Villagers or 12 Spears, but we're watching it play out in real time. um, Talk
Wow.
about mob justice right here. Those villagers, they're coming for blood.
Well, the funny thing is there's even like a guild man at arms in the mix, but he wasn't able to get to it before it was done. If it would have been like, 12 elite palace guards or something that we could, it might have played out just a little bit different, but even then, like, my money would be on the 70 Order of the Dragon villagers. And it looks like the prelate is finally making it out here, maybe, to grab some of the relics. Meanwhile, it looks like Ezra is able to, or willing to contest the key, but this is so difficult because of the emergency repairs. It just gets repaired and then you need to go for a second round and clear it fast enough before the cooldown, gets off. And so I
So
don't.
there's
What do you do as Myriad there? Because you don't wanna fight against the keep. You can't really fight against it. You could go around, which looks like he's doing that right now. There's the Palace Guard. There's round 2. Veteran Palace Guards, 11 coming in. Hopefully, well, maybe.
Yeah, so to answer your previous question, what do you do if you're Myriad? You go to the middle of the map, you capture the sacred site, and just say, hey man, if you don't want to come out of your little island, that's fine. I'm just going to create a blockade, and we're going to chill for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Another push from Myriad. This time, though, he has a lot of bow chance. I don't think there's enough Carracks here to really defend. Demo ships from Ezra coming out, but they're getting picked off.
Well, they're getting
Couple of
picked
these
off,
bow
but they
chance-
also got the dock. So one of the docks immediately fell down. The other one is almost killed. So that actually is... I mean, in a sense, Myriad could just go and snipe the docks, and that should put an end to Ezra's, options on the water fairly quick. Meanwhile, the Palace Guards are, in the woodline, killing a lot of villagers, and Ezra taps out. Extremely well fought by him. I'm really happy to, to see that kind of persistence and just keep going, even though it was like he was on the back foot after like minute 10 or so, but he kept fighting, and that was really really fun to see.
Yeah, so the turning point in this game was Myriad's Castle Age timing. He was able to get the techs, he was able to get the extra range and the extra damage from his Springald ships, and that gave him all the edge he needed to sort of push back into Ezra's base there. And part of that is the Civ, right? Myriad stayed in Tang Dynasty for the entire game, which means he gets a discount on his age ups. His Castle Age was cheaper, his Imperial Age was cheaper, and he really used that to his advantage to just force winning fights.